Hey there, young bestie. It's Jaya from Hobbii here, and you are listening to Skein and Sell, the podcast that unravels it all. Today's episode is for every knitter who's ever squinted at their colorwork and thought, why do my motifs look a little blurry? Or maybe you've admired somebody else's bold and crisp stranded sweater and wondered, what's their secret? Well, I've got you. The secret is color dominance. It sounds fancy, but it's really just a small detail with a huge impact. And once you understand it, your stranded knitting, like the bold Nordic-inspired designs in the Dorthea Collection, will look sharper, clearer, and oh, so professional. So grab your yarn, maybe 2 shades that you've been dreaming of, and let's pair them together and let's unravel the mystery of color dominance. So what is color dominance? Now, in stranded knitting, you're always juggling 2 yarns. One is active, one is hanging out in the background until it's needed again. But here's the trick. The way you hold those 2 yarns determines which color pops and which one recedes. The yarn held closest to your stitches or closest to your needle or closest to your body becomes the dominant color. It's the one that stands tall and says, notice me. The other yarn, the one carried a bit further away, naturally fades into the background. Think of it like taking a photo. One subject is in focus, the other one blurs softly behind. In colorwork, dominance is your lens. It tells the eye what to focus on. In the Dorthea Collection, that means your motif color should always be dominant. If you're knitting stars, zigzags, or yoke motifs, you want those shapes to pop crisply against the background. So how do you do that? Now, there's more than one way to wrangle 2 yarns, and none of them are wrong. But whichever you choose, the golden rule here is consistency. If you carry both yarns in your left hand, keep the dominant color closer to your palm and the background towards your fingertips. If you're one in each hand kind of knitter, keep the dominant yarn in your left and the background in your right. And whichever method feels most natural to you, stick with it and stick with it through the end. Switch halfway through and suddenly your motif will look fuzzy. It's going to start looking uneven. So a pro tip is definitely to flip your work over and check the floats. Remember, check the floats. Now, if your dominance is consistent, you'll see 2 neat parallel lines marching along in the back. It's a very satisfying little check-in, so do try it out. Now, let's just imagine that you're knitting the Dorthea sweater, okay? It's got these bold vertical motifs across the yoke. If you swap dominance halfway, suddenly half of your motifs are going to pop and the other half are going to fade away. So the result is just going to be a sweater that looks like it's having a little bit of an identity crisis. And nobody wants that, okay? Consistency, once again, consistency keeps your motifs sharp, your fabric smooth, and your design looking intentionally. So think of it like handwriting. Changing pens mid-letter, it gets messy. But keeping the same pen from start to finish, and the flow is beautiful. Now, bestie, here's where floats and dominance meet. Even when you're catching floats, remember, that's when you secure long strands so that they don't snag. You still have to keep the dominance order the same. If you accidentally flip the 2 yarns while trapping a float, you're gonna break the illusion. The motif color might suddenly dip into the background. So here's the mantra. Dominant always stays closest. Background always behind. Repeat it as you knit and your motifs will thank you. Dominant always closest, background always behind. Now, here's some extra tips to make color dominance kind of like click, okay? So when you swatch with both yarn positions, knit the same motif twice, switching which color is dominant. Then you're going to see the difference. And the difference will blow your mind. One is going to look super crisp. The other one is going to fade. Use, for instance, light and dark combos. The clearer the contrast, the more obvious the dominance becomes. Practice, maybe on smaller projects, like for instance, the Dorthea mittens or the cowl are perfect for this. Manageable canvases where you can really, really see the effect. And remember, dominant, that's the motif. If in doubt, just ask yourself, which part of the design do I want to stand out? That's the yarn that should sit closest to your stitches. Now, of course, I had to include a little color work history. And if you haven't heard a previous episode, then this is going to be very interesting to you. Let's zoom out for a moment, okay? Because color dominance isn't just something that we're doing now. It's been part of stranded knitting for a century. Even knitters didn't always call it that. In Norwegian Selbu mittens, the star motifs are always dominant. So knit in a contrasting yarn that pops against the background. The floats on the inside reveal a consistent dominance tradition. In Fair Isle knitting from Shetland Island, color dominance is almost a religion. The rule of 2 colors per row with one popping and one receding. That's what creates those mesmerizing little geometric patterns. And even in the beautiful Icelandic Lopapeysa sweaters, dominance shapes the bold yoke motifs. Now, without it, those snowflakes and those chevrons would blur into mush. So, when you're practicing dominance, you're tapping into the same wisdom knitters have been passing down for hundreds of years. You're part of a lineage of makers, of crafters who knew that the tiniest detail, which is, yarn placement, could transform their work from ordinary to extraordinary. Now, let's bring it back to our fiber fame. The Dorthea Collection is a master class in color dominance. The mittens show you right away how one yarn pops and the other one fades. The cowl gives you space to practice repeating motifs and see consistency in action. The sweater and the yoke sweater, that's where you basically graduate, large motifs that depend on crisp dominance to really, really shine. All the patterns, of course, are free on the hobbii.com website, and the blog has photos that, show swatches in action with different dominance positions. It's, I feel, a great visual if you're more of a see it to believe it learner. So go check it out. I added the link to the blog post in the notes of this episode. And bestie, here is the thing. Stranded knitting is as much about the journey as the finished piece. Now, every float, every color choice, every neat little motif is part of your maker story. So if you can't resist trying on your Dorthea sweater halfway through, floats dangling and all, same, okay? Same. That joy, that pride, that can't wait to share energy is what color work is all about. So bestie, that's color dominance unraveled. What it is, why it matters, how to master it, and the history that makes it feel even more magical. Don't forget, you can grab the free patterns, the free Dorthea patterns on hobbii.com and check the blog for swatches, for photos, and even side-by-side examples of dominance in action. And when you'll knit your Dorthea, please share it with us. Tag us at Hobbii_yarn and at Copenhagen Fibers on Instagram and use the hashtag HobbieDorthea and hashtag Copenhagen Fibers by Hobbii. We live for your color work selfies. Until next time, keep your yarns in their lane and your motifs bold. That was all for me, Jaya from Hobbii. I will see you, bestie, super, super soon. Okay? All right. Love you, bestie. Bye.